Hello you guys, and welcome back to another episode of A Better You. I am your host, Fernanda Ramirez, and welcome back to the podcast. How are you guys doing today? I hope you are doing well. In today's episode, I kind of just wanted to talk to you guys, talk to the camera, talk to my people, give you guys some updates on what's going on in my life, as well as just talk about what's going on. I honestly don't really have a plan, but I feel like there's been a lot of new things that have been going on in my life. I also have my journal here, and I thought maybe we'd go through it, talk about some things that are relevant right now, give you guys some of my reflections, some of my thoughts, some of my feelings, my emotions, what's been going on, some lessons I've been learning, just all of the above. Because I feel like recently I've been making a lot of episodes that are very in tune with what I've been going through in real life, and I feel like I really enjoy the way those episodes turn out. And a few episodes ago, I did one that was also unscripted, and it was called How to Go From Low Vibes to High Vibes. And it was one of my favorite podcast episodes I've filmed in a while because I just felt so honest and so inspired, and I feel like it reflected in the content that I ended up posting. And not only that, but I ended up getting so many nice comments, and it just really meant a lot to me. So I thought we would do kind of a similar vibe today and just talk about the vibes, what we've been feeling, because honestly, I think the direction that I want this podcast episode to go in is talking about feeling lost in your 20s. I feel like feeling lost in your 20s, and not necessarily feeling lost, but feeling like you have so many options that you don't even know which way to go is so common. I think everybody is going through this right now, and it's funny because a lot of my audience is growing up with me at the same time. And so when I was in high school, my audience was also in high school, but now that I'm 23, my audience is around the same age as me, if not older. And so I feel like we're all going through this together, and it's just a weird transitional phase. I feel like this is especially maybe hitting me hard right now. For one, because I am in my year of discovering who I am as an individual, as a single lady, as somebody who is out of a 5.5-year relationship, is somebody who is just learning who they are and who they want to be in this world. And also, I feel like a lot of my friends are graduating this year. So it's just a weird time. So many of my friends are moving away and planning to move and figuring out what their next 2-year plan is. It's just such a weird feeling because as somebody who hasn't been in school for the past 4 years, I basically didn't do university. I was there for a year, in college for a year. I have been living my past few years marching to the beat of my own drum. Let's put it that way, okay? I've been doing whatever I want and kind of my own path, and it's been very individual as all of my friends have been in school. And I felt like, honestly, my friends being in school was kind of like a grounding force for me as I was traveling and doing whatever. It felt like my home was always my home. My friends were in school, I had my family home, and just I was going out and doing my own thing. But now that my friends are leaving, I'm like, oh my God, what is happening? Everyone is moving, everyone is changing, everyone's planning their future. And it just feels disorienting, even if I'm not a part of it, if that makes sense. So I definitely feel like I've been feeling that post-grad confusion. I didn't even graduate, but I feel like at this age is usually when a lot of people graduate. So at 23, they're going into their corporate jobs, they're just shifting. As much as I am not actually going through that, I feel the change anyways. I feel my friends getting busier, my friends going to work, friendships being a little bit more difficult to maintain now that everyone's got their own schedules. And even for me, I feel like it's been tough navigating that. I also say this I hope it doesn't come across as any way of taking my position for granted, because I know I have a very flexible schedule, and that is something I'm super fortunate for and super grateful. And, I'm so thankful to be in the position that I'm in. But I say this all to just kind of say that there's a lot of change going on around me, and I can definitely feel the shift. Even the shift of people questioning what path they want to go on, things getting a little bit more serious. I can imagine probably in the next 5 years, oh my God, traumatizing. People are going to start getting married. People are going to have kids. Guys, the thought of that is so confusing to me, considering that I feel like in influencer years, in entrepreneur years, in content creator years, 1 year feels like a lifetime because you're so on your own schedule and you can kind of plan it however you want. So the thought of a 5-year plan is honestly overwhelming because I feel like I plan my years in a year or two. But anyways, that was a really long introduction to just say that I feel like this has been a very transformational time recently. And specifically, I just kind of want to talk about my experience, and maybe there will be someone listening that can relate to me. I mean, I will give some some of my tips on how I'm currently handling this, but at the same time, I kind of want to leave this episode open-ended because obviously I'm going through it as well, and I don't have the answer and I don't have all the perfect things to say or the final conclusion because I myself probably need that video. But I feel like sometimes it's nice to hear other people going through similar issues as you because it kind of makes you feel like you're not alone and we're all kind of going through it together. So yeah, I guess there's not really a plan for this episode, but jumping into it, I guess I can say for myself, I feel like I am in such a liminal space right now. That has been a big word for me recently, where I feel like I'm going through so much transition in the sense that I'm not necessarily who I used to be, and I feel like I'm not my new evolved version yet. So I'm in this weird transition period where you're just kind of rediscovering yourself and what you like and what you want to do and where you want to go. It kind of feels like you're in jelly. You're in a little bit of gelatin right now. That's how I feel. I feel like for me, some things that have been helping me feel grounded in this time of transformation have been having little rituals and little routines every day, whether that's a morning routine that's consistent, a workout routine that's consistent, maybe going on a walk to get some fresh air, or maybe that is seeing my family every so often to just kind of feel at home again. Maybe it is going to coffee shops and regularly journaling to just kind of let out my feelings and my thoughts and like kind of recenter and figure out where my mind is at. Maybe having little rituals with friends to see them and kind of catch up with them. I feel like having catch up time with your friends is so important at this time, and just kind of feeling connected, because I do think that this can be a very lonely period for a lot of people. I feel like some things that have been helping me feel grounded as well are really just mentalities of having self-compassion and giving myself grace, knowing that it is a transformational period and you are allowed to change, and what may have worked for you in a different time may not be what is necessarily working for you now, and that is okay. I feel like that is something that I definitely need to hear and something that I need to remind myself often. Another thing that I feel like I've been trying to remind myself of is that it's okay to exist in this space where you don't exactly know what direction you're heading in, and it's okay to change your mind about things. I feel like that is what is super awesome, especially if you're not a content creator, is that like you don't have to have set decision on anything. Something I feel like I am struggling with is the fact that as a creator, you're kind of self-branded. And I feel like something that I'm currently going through, which is really not relatable to I think a majority of people, is that I feel like as a human, as Fernanda the human, I've been going through so much change and so many lessons and so many new experiences that I feel like have maybe sidetracked me a little bit from work. But as a human, I'm like, I feel like I'm really learning, I feel like I'm really uncovering like truths or ideas that weren't necessarily true, or I'm dismantling belief systems that don't align with me anymore, or I'm in my healing era and figuring out where I want to go and who I want to be and what wasn't working for me and what is working for me. And yet simultaneously, I feel like Fernanda Ramirez as the brand has been difficult to maintain because I don't necessarily feel like I identify with maybe that 20-year-old or 21-year-old self that was the brand. Does that make sense? And so it's a little bit of a weird feeling to feel kind of lost in real life, but try to package it up all like brand friendly and kind of present it on the internet, especially when people are kind of expecting to see a certain version of you. But I feel like as a person listening to this who doesn't have to do self-branding, I feel like that just lifts such a weight off your shoulder to know that it's okay if you don't have something figured out, or you keep changing your mind about something, or, you know, one day you like something, the next day you don't. Maybe you're feeling a little bit off. Maybe it's a slower period for you, a more hermit period for you, a more introverted period for you, a more extroverted period for you. Like, I feel like the fact that that is not a concern for you, it just gives you all the freedom to move and ebb and flow and change in peace. And I say that to just remind you that as well, in case maybe you hadn't thought about it from that perspective, but like it is so okay for you to kind of be in this flowy state. You know, if one day you feel different from the next, that is totally okay. I also feel like for me, going through this period of kind of not feeling super defined or super sure about how I want to like self-brand myself, I feel like something that I've been doing is more showing the raw process and the truth about the transformation. And that is specifically why I'm kind of making this episode, to kind of use this confusion, one might say, into my content and weave it in and kind of just show up the most authentic and the most truthful as I can, because that is the most honest thing that is going on in my life. And it's also so rewarding to watch back and see how you're evolving and how your brain was processing whatever you're going through at each time in your life, which is also, side note, why I want to say having like a journal or like a video diary is so cool and so interesting, because I know from like a year year from now, when I go back on these episodes, I'm going to be able to so clearly see how I was feeling at the time. And I bet you a year from now, I'm going to be watching this episode being like, Fernanda, don't even worry about it. Things are going to unravel the way they're supposed to. And you were freaking out about something when you didn't need to freak out about that. Hopefully that made sense. But I guess I say this all to say that if you are feeling in this confusion, little bit of a transitional phase, to have self-compassion for yourself and to understand that everybody at this age is going through that. And I feel like everybody is trying to find themselves and figure out what they like. And sometimes it can be difficult when your mind is changing, but that is okay and that is human and that we are humans at the end of the day. We are not machines and we are multidimensional, which means that, we have different facets to us and different versions of us that may come out at different times, different personality traits that may be more prominent at certain times, or maybe different moods that come out around certain people, and that all of those versions of you can coexist at the same time and that is okay. And if you are feeling a little bit lost and feeling like you're not really sure of which version of yourself is the one that you want to present with first, or which version of yourself you feel the most confident in, that raw version of you that is a little bit unpolished, that is a little bit confused, that is enough. That is okay, and that is your truth. And I feel like that's where I'm currently sitting right now, where honesty is the truest form that you can be. And I think honesty and authenticity and vulnerability is like such a attractive trait. And I don't even mean that in like a physically attractive, like, looks wise attractive way. I mean it as in like when you are your most honest and your most vulnerable and your most truthful self, and you're making decisions based off what feels true to you in the moment. Not only can you I'm not going to say chase. Not only can you gravitate towards things that truly align with you, but you will also attract things that are truly meant for you. And actually saying that, I feel like that's another thing I want to talk about, is that I feel like currently I am in a little bit of a state of allowing things to come to me without forcing them too much. And I feel like in the past, when I was younger, I was very much a forcer. I was like, I'm going to make this work. I'm going to do all the things I want to do, and I'm going to spend the money to make it happen. And I'm going to, overextend myself, even lead myself to burnout to make these things happen. And you can maybe put yourself in this kind of situation where maybe you can imagine yourself saying yes to things you didn't want to say yes to, people pleasing, maybe even saying no to things out of fear, doing things that you don't feel truly aligned with you for the sake of the way that it looks or what you might achieve if you do it, or maybe the so-called rewards that you might get if you kind of push through and chase these things down. But I feel like as I've gotten older, this current version of myself is more embracing, attracting, and not pushing so hard for things that don't feel aligned with me or don't feel as natural. I really want to be in a state where I'm being truthful and honest, and the things that call to me, I will move forward to, and the things that come to me, I will accept with open and honest arms. As that saying goes, we do not chase, we attract, and I feel like that's how you can curate your life to feel the most fulfilling. I also want to say on that note, actually, and this is, I guess, a little side note story, but this weekend is actually Coachella, and I won't be going to Coachella this year, which is so crazy because I feel like I've been going for the past, this would have been my 4th year, and I'm not going this year, and it's so disappointing, and I'm so upset, and I honestly am probably more upset than I'm leading on right now. But in reality, it just didn't work this year. And I was really down in the dumps about it. I was like, God, Fernanda, should you have worked harder? Should you have tried harder? Should you have made it work? Should you have figured it out sooner? Should you have planned it more? And I honestly think, though some of those things may be true, I feel like if this year was not the year, if things weren't aligning, if it didn't really make sense, as they say, if it's not a hell yes, it might be a no, but if it's not 100% working for you with ease, it might just be the time where I have to sit back and accept and let some things feel out of my control and just kind of roll with the punches, I guess. I want to say roll with the tides because punches sounds aggressive, but just kind of roll with it and feel like every year is going to be so different than the last. And I feel like that's something even to take as a lesson going into your 20s. Some years you're going to have different experiences than others. Some years you might not do things that you feel are tradition. Some years you might not have the friends that you always feel like have always been there for you. And that is okay. I feel like that is also where the law of detachment comes in, and being okay with things coming and going and feeling so thankful for when things work out and so thankful for when things are ritualistic and when things are habitual and when things are tradition. But when they don't happen that way, or something doesn't happen the way it's supposed to or the way that you wanted to be okay with letting it pass and just being like, okay, this wasn't the time. What's meant for me will come and find me. Another quote here that we can say is, where our attention goes, energy flows. And if our attention wasn't placed on certain things and they didn't work out for us, that's okay. That just means that energy wasn't flowing in that way. Sometimes something may be different, but that doesn't mean it's worse or it's better. It's just different. And if anything, it's something to embrace, because if something didn't happen the way you wanted to, maybe there's going to be something else that comes out of it even better. And for me, I guess me not going to Coachella, again, like I said, is kind of upsetting, because I really wanted to go. It's one of my favorite memories of every year, but I'm remaining detached and saying it's okay. You know, there will be more for us. We're keeping an abundance mindset and saying more opportunities will come to us, more trips will come, more fun memories will come. And if this year wasn't the year, I will make memories here at home. I will reframe this into a positive situation and maybe do something here with my friends or with my family and figure out a way to make memories here, because we are where our feet are. And if I'm not over there, I'm going to make this count, and I'm going to make this weekend count at home. Side note, another little personal story I wanted to talk about has to do with the whole idea that we were talking about earlier, where like sometimes in our 20s, we may have different sides of ourselves. I want to talk about a new car I got, because I feel like this has brought out a new side of myself. I don't know. I feel like there's some stuff that we can discuss here. So let me get into it. This is a little bit of a side point. Also, I hope you guys are enjoying this episode so far. Again, having an episode be unstructured is a little bit difficult, as you can imagine, because I'm trying to articulate my thoughts in real time while also making it make sense and like make this applicable to you guys. So anyways, I hope that this is making sense so far and that you guys are enjoying it, but I'm enjoying thinking about it. Okay, so let's talk about my car. So you guys, if you know, you know. I had a little yellow Beetle, and this yellow Beetle has been the car that I've had since I was 19. I actually got it basically right when I started my YouTube channel, which, can I just say, I feel like I'm going through such a transformational period right now. I'm literally shook. I'm shocked. I don't even know how to think about this, because in my eyes, this is so side point, but I'm just talking about myself here. Like, high school me is so different than when I started my YouTube channel. That's when like things changed, and that's basically like 2019, 2020. Obviously the pandemic happened. I think everyone's lives kind of changed. So from 2019 to 2020, COVID time, till the past 5 years, my life was YouTube, had a boyfriend. It was so specific. And this is the 5 years that I had this yellow little bug. And now that I'm like 23, and I'm saying this is like the post-grad era where like a lot of my friends are graduating, a lot of my friends are moving, I moved apartments, I've got a new team, me and my ex-boyfriend are no longer together, I like got a new car. I'm just like, I think that's what's confusing me right now, is that I feel like I'm in a completely different like environment with different people around. And I don't know if you guys have seen that quote, but it's like that moment when you look around and you realize you're in a brand new chapter, and like the people aren't the same, the location isn't the same, the environment isn't the same. That's how I feel right now. So that's why I feel like my mind is like compartmentalizing these different time periods, because I'm just like, that isn't even me anymore, which is such a weird feeling, considering that I basically started my YouTube career for those past 5 years, and now I'm like switching, and I've never even been a creator while being single, or I've never been a creator while like being an adult. And so I'm like navigating content creation and like showing up as a brand and like showing up online while I'm simultaneously healing and like reinventing myself in real life and getting to know who I am now. And it's not even getting to know, because I feel like sometimes the advice that people give you when you go through a breakup or something is like, remember who you were before the relationship. And I'm just like, I feel like I can't even take that advice and make that apply to me, because who I was at 18 is like so different than who I am now that I can't even like go back to that. So anyways, this is why I'm saying I feel like this is such a weird feeling that I feel like so many people are going through right now, which is just like this reinvention and figuring who this is now. But anyways, that was a side note. I got this new car, okay? And this new car can be kind of seen as a metaphor. It's like the wheels to my new mid-20s self. Is that a nightmare to say out loud? I don't know. The wheels to where I'm going. The wheels to where I'm heading. What's coming next? The wheels to, I don't know, a new timeline, new people, new places. I don't know, okay? New aura. That's what I'm trying to say, okay? So I got a new car. This car is so different from my last car, at least personally. It feels like a big change. My last car being a cute little yellow bug that signified maybe the beginning of my YouTube career, my youth in a way, my early 20s. It's so cutie. It's so sunflower. Okay, guys. So this next car, I was like, for this new era of my life, I really want like still a convertible, because I feel like that's very me. It's so fun to have with my friends. But I wanted like a white Mercedes, or like, okay, I don't actually know cars. Maybe not a Mercedes, a white BMW or something. A white convertible, okay? So my dad was looking online. He was looking online for cars for me to buy. I went to see a white car, but it wasn't my favorite for some reason. I didn't like it. And so I went to see this another car, and it's a black Audi. I don't know why I can't say that word. Is it Audi or Audi? I don't know. This black Audi. Oh, I can't say it. Okay, but it's convertible and it's black. And I go and test drive it. And honestly, it's beautiful. Like the inside is so nice. The outside is so nice. But I'm like, low key, is this giving like, why do I feel like a 14-year-old boy in this car? Like it's just so different than my cutie little feminine Beetle. And some of my friends were like, nah, Fernanda, it's giving kind of like masculine, which is crazy to say about a car. But anyways, I ended up getting this car, okay? And being in this car feels very like such a different aura. All of a sudden, I know I probably sound insane to whoever's listening to this, okay? I know, but I feel like if you're listening to this, you know that like the car you drive kind of feels like you. It's like when people say that like dogs look like their owners. It's like the dog you pick kind of says a lot about you subconsciously. So the car that I'm driving kind of, I feel like represents something about me. So anyways, I'm driving this new car and I'm like, wait, I feel like this is unlocking a new version of myself, the more elevated, the more mature version of me. It's like low-key, why is it identity crisis? Because I'm like, this just feels so different from my last car, but I'm loving it. And I'm loving embracing a new side of myself, one that was always there, but maybe more dormant, maybe more asleep while I drove my cutie little car. But now I feel like a woman in this car. I feel like a badass in this car, okay? I know that's crazy to say, but like I just feel so like good in it, okay? I'm actually doing a car little transformation video for my YouTube channel, so I'm so excited for that to go up, but I basically bedazzled my car, okay? I got pink bedazzled for the license plate and I got a pink wheel, and I know that sounds crazy, but I feel like I couldn't do the black and pink obviously with my yellow bug. That just was not the vibe. But with this black car, I'm like, I feel like I'm gonna paint this picture for you, okay? Bedazzled, pink, black, rhinestone, like Y2K, like listening to the song Luxurious or Rich Girl by Gwen Stefani. Okay, that's the vibe I'm thinking of this new car. And that's the vibe that I'm trying to go into 23 and 24 with. So anyways, I guess this little side story was to say that in your 20s, when you're maybe discovering new sides of yourself, maybe you hang out with a new friend group that's bringing out a new side of yourself and you're like, wait, I've never been this version of myself. Who is this? It's kind of fun to get to know the different sides of yourself and to let yourself play with these different versions of yourself and kind of embrace them all because they are all a part of you, and just kind of have fun with it and realize that, again, because you're so young and we have all the freedom to change and, you know, cut our hair and get a new piercing and wear a new outfit and try out a new aesthetic and decorate your room differently. It's like you are able to play around with your surroundings, and your surroundings really shape how you kind of act and how you feel. Like me driving around in this car, I feel empowered. I feel like a baddie. I feel like I want to listen to the music so loud. I feel like all of a sudden I've got this newfound confidence and I'm like, hell yeah, I'm 23. I'm not 19 anymore. I'm not 18. I don't even want to be that age anymore. I'm 23. I'm grown and I love this car. The same way that my room, this is another side story, but I've been decorating it a very different aesthetic than I have in the past. And usually for my bedrooms and for my rooms in general, I always do like a transformation for YouTube. And it's definitely more of an aesthetic based transformation rather than a transformation built off of actual use. Stay with me for a second. I mean this because a lot of our childhood bedrooms end up being a representation of your personality, in the sense that after years and years and years, maybe you put medals on the wall, maybe it's a collection of your books, maybe it's a trinket that someone gave you 5 years ago that just happened to be there. And then by the time you're, I don't know, 16, your room is like a collection of memories. But when I'm doing these YouTube transformations and I'm like, yeah, I'm gonna transform my room to coquette themed, I basically went thrifting or went shopping and bought all of those things at once and kind of decorated my space like that. And it felt like me because I thrifted and I picked all these things, but it kind of felt like a stage room. Is that what it's called? A stage? Because I did it all at once. And in a way, it kind of is a stage, because if I'm creating content and making YouTube videos on my life and my apartment is what I'm showing, kind of is like my apartment is a stage, which is low-key kind of really a weird, like, sorry, I'm gonna swear here, but like a mindfuck way to think about it, because you're just like, oh, it feels performative. Anyways, if you guys have been watching my last few episodes, you guys know that I'm also trying to dismantle the whole performative thing and kind of figure out who I am and how I feel without posting everything or doing everything kind of for like the external world, or for, I'm not gonna say validation, but like for posting purposes. So anyways, I say this all to say that I feel like my last room and my last previous few rooms have been kind of a theme or have been for content. So I buy all this stuff at the same time. And for some reason, this apartment over the last year, I haven't even really been doing room transformations except for my glam room. And I haven't done an apartment tour. And so although I feel like my spaces haven't been 100% finalized or 100% up to par with the aesthetic that I had in my mind, I feel like the spaces are filling up more with curation representation of my personality and things that I actually use and things that I choose to keep up. And my room currently is like almost being done decorated, but it has been decorated now for like the past maybe 9 months. And because I haven't posted it, it's just kind of been a collection of things that I actually use and things that I actually want to place. And so I feel like it is the most accurate representation of how I feel at 23, like a visual representation of who I am in this current moment. And that version of me, let me just tell you, my room has been very princess themed, very like Parisian, romantic, like girly, angelic, rose quartz. Like I've been trying to channel this like women goddess energy. And I feel like it's actually really showing up in my room. And it's just so funny because I feel like this is so who I am now. But I don't think that that room, that aesthetic, one may say, or that vibe could have been even like created when I was 19, because that's just so not who I was at 19. So anyways, I say this all to say that this room is kind of showing another facet of me, quite the opposite facet than the car, and that is okay. We are accepting duality and multi-faceted versions of ourselves, right? Like different sides of ourselves. So the car is kind of showing my confident baddie self. I hate saying the word baddie, but like more confident, more showy, more on display version with like the rhinestones and kind of like look at me. Whereas I feel like my room is a lot more like cozy and calm, and just I have a lot of like, every area feels so intentional. I have kind of like a lot of books, and I feel like the bookshelf kind of represents like topics I'm interested in and topics that I like to read about. Got a lot of like crystals in there. I've got a lot of like little cherubs and angels and rose quartz and selenite and crystals. And I've got some flowers and dried flowers and little teacups and candles. I've also got a lot of picture frames on the wall that are all gold. And I feel like it's funny because yes, I was kind of trying to go for this more like feminine aesthetic, but at the same time, I didn't realize that what I naturally am gravitating towards right now is kind of themes of like romance. And I never thought of myself as someone who was super like romantic, but I feel like I'm really liking that like Parisian vibe that just looks so like I want to put like a heart locket on everything. So anyways, I just feel like it's been so fun to allow my interest and maybe my current personality, how I feel in this current moment, to decorate my spaces and seeing what that ends up becoming. And if that's different from a different side of myself, maybe I choose to go out one day and I'm wearing like a kind of tomboyish outfit, or like, you know, I'm dressing differently or I'm feeling differently, to accept all the different sides of ourselves, try out new things, and to see what sticks and what feels most aligned with us. The other thing that I wanted to talk about in our 20s is just the fact that we have so much time. At the age of 23, I feel like I got really lucky and I worked really hard when I was like 19, 20, 21, even 22, up to now, to achieve all my goals. And I wanted to do everything so fast and so quickly. And now that I'm 23 and I feel like I've reached a lot of these big goals that I had for myself, I'm changing the goals that I have for myself and kind of planning out new things that I want for the next 5 years or for the next 3 years or whatever. And I'm realizing how much time we have. And I feel like if I was to go back to talk to my 19-year-old self, I would definitely say that to her. Like, you have so much time to enjoy the moment. I will say I probably wouldn't be in the situation that I am now if I didn't work as hard as I did when I was like 19, 20, 21. But at the same time, I remember being that age and like low-key burnout, like crying, being like staying up all night to get my work done. And again, it did reward me because now I'm in the place that I am now, but I would like miss out on like fun experiences when I was younger because I was like grinding. And now looking back, I'm like, low-key, we have so much time. I'm only 23, which is so young. And I kind of just wish that I could tell my younger self that like, it's okay. You don't have to rush. Everyone's going to move at their own time. What is actually the most rewarding is the journey and the process more than the actual destination is. And I feel like this is a valuable lesson to say because I'm sure you guys know this as well, but even for me, when I hit 1 million, I remember that was such a big goal that I had for myself, and I worked so hard to get there. And that's how I'm saying I would like miss things and like miss parties and miss trips and miss, I don't know, things with my friends because I was like grinding to get those videos up. And I ended up hitting 1 million in like 2 and a bit years, which is like a really short amount of time. And for that, I am so grateful. But what was so fun about reaching that milestone was the process, was the filming, was the editing, was the fact that I had all this energy and all this time to create and be creative and have this kind of like internal drive. Once you reach that 1 million, I reached it and I was like, okay, what now? And so I say this to kind of remind you guys that you have so much time. You don't need to finish all of your goals as fast as you can, and to enjoy the process and to enjoy the come up. That is what makes the experience and also the destination more meaningful. And yeah, I kind of just want to say that. And I kind of want to say that also as my own reflection for myself. I feel like knowing that and having gone through that, I feel like the goals that I have now, I'm taking a little bit of pressure off of myself because I know I have so much time and I want to enjoy things and trust in divine timing that like things will happen when they're meant to happen, and there's no need to rush. There's no need to force. What is meant for you will be. And the same way that, I believe that the career that I have now, I was meant to have. I don't think that I would have had it any younger than that. Does that make sense? So like I remember I wanted to be a YouTuber at 16, but I had to be patient and wait my time because that just wasn't aligned for me at that time in my life, yet it was aligned for me at the age of 20. And so right now, if I want all these things to work for me, instead of putting all this pressure on me to make these things happen and to make it happen by the age of 24, to give myself some time, because maybe my goals are going to happen at 26 or at 27, and that's where I'm going to be like, younger Fernanda, if only you knew, if only you waited. So I say this now to remind you guys, you have all the time in the world to accomplish all the goals that you want, to reach all the milestones you want, to change your mind if you want. There's nothing wrong with that. There are so many opportunities and so many paths. And I feel like even some of my friends right now are kind of unsure with the jobs they're having, with the careers they're going into. And it's just like, even they need to remind themselves that like we have time, we can change if we want to, and that nothing is set in stone. You are the creator of your own life, and if you want to change a page, you want to change a sentence, you are more than welcome to do that. And not only that, but the reminders that I'm giving for myself is just to allow things to unfold the way they're supposed to do my job every day, do well every day, do 1% better every day, and trust that those things are going to happen for me. You do not need to try so hard to chase these outcomes. They will come if you are doing the work every day. And also having that in mind and having that said, I feel like it's so fun to dream big and to not limit yourself to your hometown or what you feel like is possible for you, because truly whatever you set your mind to, you can achieve. It's just a matter of like hard work and resources and time. And, obviously there's a lot of things that factor into it, but to let yourself dream, because I know for myself, sometimes it's like, I'll be talking to my friends and even my creator friends. I feel like my influencer friends are the ones where I dream the craziest and I'm so delusional with, which I feel like honestly makes sense because that is why we have the career we have. There is no way I think we could have done this without some delusional confidence. With my friends, having these conversations of like, how big can we think? How crazy can we think? How far can we dream? Those are the conversations that light us up inside, and they kind of give you a little bit of sense of direction to where you actually want to go. If you gave yourself the freedom to dream and the freedom to believe that you can actually do whatever you want. So I say that to say that have that also delusional confidence and to have that feeling of wonder and that self-belief. And even if you have to kind of lie to yourself or be a little bit delusional, let yourself be delusional, because I swear the delusion works. Dream so big that someone might say that's insane, but also then don't hang out with those people. Hang out with the people that empower those dreams and that make you feel good about them and that make you feel like no dream is too big. No ideal scenario is too crazy, because those are the people that are going to motivate you and push you to be that version of yourself. And also, having that said, I feel like that is also an important thing to touch on in your 20s. I feel like I've really been prioritizing quality over quantity recently, and that is in experiences and in people, because I remember when I was younger, I would kind of do whatever for the plot, and though that's fun, and though I made so many memories and I learned so many experiences, I feel like you learn experiences the hard way that sometimes, I don't know if you need to always learn that way. So I say this as kind of like an older sister or as somebody who has done that when I'm younger. I think the most important thing now for me is prioritizing what makes me feel good. I don't need to put myself in situations that don't make me feel good just for the plot. Who around me respects me, brings up my confidence, my self-worth, makes me feel good. I actually leave the hangout feeling better or more uplifted than when I started seeing them. Who do I feel comfortable around? Who do I feel safe around? Who do I not have to shrink myself around? Who do I not have to walk on eggshells or tiptoe around? Because those are the people that you should keep in your circle, and you are the sum of the 5 people you hang around with. So being intentional with the people that you allow in and honoring who you are and your own self-worth and being like, I deserve to be around people that make me feel good. I deserve to be around people that respect me, and keeping those boundaries strong. That's another thing I want to say there. I feel like me and my friends recently have kind of put a focus on boundary setting and just kind of reminding ourselves about the goddesses that we are. And I know I sound kind of crazy saying it, but like literally that's how we talk. And we're just kind of like, anyone that doesn't make us feel good or anybody that doesn't treat us the way we deserve to be treated, literally boundary immediately is placed. So I kind of want to leave this episode off there by saying to be intentional with the people that that you spend time with, especially in your 20s, because they kind of shape your mentality and your morals and your belief system. And hang out with people that make you feel good, because at the end of the day, your circle is what's going to get you to the places you want to go. I really don't think I would even be here without the friends that I have in my life believing in me. And anybody dragging you down is not worth keeping around, especially during this time where we're kind of navigating newness and new identities and new feelings and new emotions and new experiences. And it's just like, honestly, it's not worth it to have anyone in your corner who is not 100% there for you, or that wouldn't give you that same amount of cheerleading energy that you wouldn't give them. I think my yap session is going to end here. This has been quite a long little yap we've had, but I honestly feel like we touched on a lot of fun topics and a lot of, I guess, things that I needed to get off my chest myself. So I hope by the end of this episode, you're kind of feeling inspired to go after your goals and chase your dreams, and even maybe at ease in some ways by feeling like you're not alone if you're feeling any bit lost or anxious or confused or behind. Like, we are not behind. Everyone moves at their own pace. And I also think something I need to remind myself is that some people are confused for so long and then reach their goals at 30. Some people have it all by 21 and then lose it all. Some people become millionaires at 50. Some people get their dream car at 27. Some people, you know what I mean? Like, everybody is going at their own pace, at their own lane. Have tunnel vision for your own life and follow what makes you feel good. Follow your intuition, trust your intuition, and let that guide you, because honestly, that's all you have. And surround yourself around people that make you feel good. Don't feel pressured by what other people are doing or other people's journey, because it is so different than yours. And have some self-compassion during this time of confusion, because our 20s, they may be confusing. They may be like, you know, what is happening? One year you know exactly what you want, the next year you don't. The next month you do, the next month you don't. But that's what makes it beautiful and fun and exciting and worth living, because we feel so alive, okay? Mic drop, that's the finale. I love you guys, and I will talk to you soon.